Hello everyone and welcome to the Tree Care series from the Legacy Tree. My name is Elena Varnavska and today we have Johnny Dale on the line directly from Scotland. Hi Johnny.
Hi.
So hello from Germany, from partial lockdown, but life goes on and we are excited to learn all the autumn tree care tips so that the people can also apply these tips and they can also find out how you are doing tree care at the Croft for the Legacy trees. So my first question is, what does actually autumn tree care include, like overall the basics?
Autumn tree care overall is making sure that trees are cared for and there's no broken branches, and also mulching, on top of them. If you've planted any new trees, mulching round about where you planted them, and mulching round about the soil. So it's really important. What you would use for this is leaf mulch, or you could use, if you're close to the sea, you could use seaweed as well, or compost would be another one.
Okay, thank you. And when doing tree care at the Croft, what is your main focus, Johnny?
My main focus on tree care at the Croft, I have a walk round the Croft. When I'm there, I have a walk round the Croft, having a look at the trees and see if there's any broken branches or any trees that are falling over, or trees that are not doing so great, and trees that are kind of struggling because it's very peaty soil, which is quite difficult for some of the trees. So I make a mark in my head, and also in my notepad, what trees are not doing very great, what types of trees are not doing very great, and why I think they're not doing very great. So that could be to do with soil or climate or position. So I try to give them a helping hand or a help, and I give them I go down to the shore and I get seaweed, and I put seaweed round about the base of them, not too close to the trunk. Many people put kind of too close to the trunk. That can create rot. If you can start to rot the bark of the trunk.
Oh, really? Oh.
Away from the trunk. I just put it round about with the roots when I think the roots are. So in the tree drip line, you focus on a tree. The drip line is where the tree comes out to, and where the drip line is. Where the drips come off the branches or the leaves, that's the drip line. So how far the tree stretches out, so you would just put it round the kind of roots where you think, the roots are at the bottom, and I just let nature take its course where the rain and the wind and the weather will rot it, and the sun bleaches it and rots it back into the soil, and like the microorganisms do their work.
Okay, these are really tree care secrets, yeah? How everything interacts and how everything is interconnected, all the impacts. Okay, thank you. And my next question is, what is number one must do when taking care of trees in autumn?
Well, the number one at the Croft is, because it's very windy and very stormy, there's a lot of tree branches break off or snap, and sometimes the trees can actually blow over with the wind, so what I kind of look out for is kind of anything that's broken or anything that's snapped, or any branches that have snapped off. And if they're dead, if the branches are dead when they're snapped off, then it's important that I cut them off, because it prevents disease or fungus getting in, because it's really quickly a tree can be destroyed or die if this rot spreads from a dead branch into a live tree. It can really, rot really spreads very, very quick, and that's important it's very important to note that rot in a tree can spread really quickly into life. You know, so I've watched it for myself how fast rot spreads, and it's really phenomenal. You know, to see it how fast it can kill a tree stone dead. You know.
Okay, so if you have trees in your garden, please make sure to cut their branches accordingly if you can see that they are broken a little bit, yeah? So that's a great tip. Thanks for sharing. And actually, does the effect of the autumn tree care last over winter, or do you also need to provide any kind of winter care for the trees?
Yeah, I provide some winter care, as I said, and if I'm planting new trees, you know, new trees that have just been in the first year, I'm more care to them, you know, so I worry about them a lot, so I kind of give them compost, or I give them more natural compost that I make myself through bracken and through leaf mold and through seaweed. So I give them that, or I'll give them a diluted seaweed, which is through water, rainwater. I'll use the rainwater, not tap water. Rainwater. I put seaweed in a bucket and then fill it up with water and let it soak for about a week. You know, and then kind of stir it up and then pour it back into my watering can and give them a feed of that. And it seems to really make they really, it's as if they say, oh my God, oh that's lovely. Oh, you know, it's as if you've had a lovely meal or a hot soup and a cold day or something. So, you know, it really gives them a real good boost, which is delightful.
Okay, and do you use any kind of cloth to protect the trunk of the tree? Very often I see in Germany that some of the trees are protected. Let's say already September, beginning of October, I can see that the tree carers protect them with this sort of special cloth.
Yeah, that's what mostly I found that the trees that are needing protected, that are vulnerable, they're not too hardy. The trees on the crop, we don't need to worry about them because they're specially picked and specially planted because they're native to that area and native to Scotland, and they're hardy broadleaves, which trees, so you know, birch, oak, rowan, pine, cherry, you know, and alder. They're all tough enough and hardy enough to withstand colder northern hemisphere climates. Oceanic is the region where the croft is, and on tree top that is, you know, the oak and alder and aspen and willow and cherry are all hardy trees.
Hardy trees. Okay, so that's very clever, you know, that you do not grow palm trees at the Croft.
No.
That's not possible, I guess, yeah, because they are not native, yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't survive. But some people have tried eucalyptus and all that, and to me it's a shame because you've got it grows, but you've got just a few leaves on the top, you know, and you've got a full bare tree. To me, it looks torture. It looks just, you know, poor thing, it's really not liking it, and the leaves are all brown and all haddish.
Yeah, it's a pity, yeah.
It's not a great setting for warmer lighting trees.
Thanks for sharing your wisdom and tons of tree care tips, Johnny. And my last question is, what would be a really big takeaway for the people who have their fruit trees, you know, who have their trees in the garden? So just takeaway for them.
Something to take away is in my urban community volunteering and community planting, we have been looking after orchard trees, fruit trees for pear, apple, and plum, and others. And what we've been doing with them is kind of weeding round about the base, you know, making a big circle round about the base and weeding all the weeds out of the runners, out of the whole base of the tree. And then we've been mulching it with manure, well rotted manure, no, not fresh manure. It's important to stress that. You know, well rotted manure, and also we've been putting on top of the well rotted manure is wood chippings, and along with pine needles. You know, so this is giving the trees a good feed and a good mulch, and a good I'm excited. I'm so excited after working with the team yesterday and the day before, you know, to see the results next year of how the tree loves the new grub and the new food, you know, and the new care. So I'm excited to see the trees next year, to see how tasty the apples and the pears will be. So I can't wait till next year. But it's really important as well to stress that in planting fruit trees, not to plant them too deep. You know, that's really, really important. There's so many places, so many people that have said, oh, why am I not getting apples? And why am I not getting what's wrong with my tree? And, oh my God, and, you know, what's happened? And I don't understand why I'm not getting, you know, and the fundamental culprit is usually planted too deep. And
too deep.
With the graph, either people plant beyond that, put the soil beyond that, you know, is a one thing, and then it allows the wild one to come out. That's really too deep. Or else they've went halfway up the trunk, you know, they've went halfway up to nearly the graph. So, you know, so it's really, really important to not plant them too deep. There's loads of videos out there. There's loads of books out there on fruit trees. You can go into Waterstones or anywhere and find gardening books, and it will tell you, you know, the correct way how to plant fruit trees. And there's loads of YouTube videos that are amazing. So there's lots of information out there, you know. So it's just a lot of work when you've got to go redo something or go back and why am I not getting any pear and apple trees? Well, it's usually because of lack of knowledge how to plant properly, you know.
So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. So I hope people could also relate. So if you do not have apples on your apple tree, then maybe it was planted too deep. Yeah. So thank you, Johnny, and see you next time at the next Legacy Tree Care series video.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.